Hello students, today for our lesson we are going to be looking at Romeo and Juliet in Verona, Italy. So first we're going to look at Romeo and Juliet. A basic summary of it, it's a tragedy written by William Shakespeare. It was written early in his career, and it is about two young star-crossed lovers whose deaths ultimately reconcile their feuding families. It was among Shakespeare's most famous and popular plays during his lifetime, and along with Hamlet is one of his most frequently performed plays. Today, the title characters are regarded as prototypical young lovers. Alright, so a little bit more on Romeo and Juliet. In the play, Shakespeare creates a violent world in which two young people fall in love. It is not simply that their families disapprove. The Montagues and the Capulets are enraged in a blood feud. No one can really remember where this fight started, but as long as anyone can remember, these two families have been fighting back and forth. In this death-filled setting, the movement from love at first sight to the lovers' final union in death seems almost inevitable, and yet this play set in an extraordinary world has become the quintessential story of young love. In part because of its exquisite language, it's easy to respond as if all it were about were young lovers. Alright, so we're just going to look here just at a couple different versions of Shakespeare. So first we have Zeffirelli's version. This was released in 1968, and while it's older, it still is a really well done version of Romeo and Juliet. Next will be Baz Luhrmann's version. This is starring Leonardo DiCaprio as Romeo, so it's pretty famous, and it's also set in modern day city of Verona Beach. It's got a very California feel to it. Third will be Carly's. This is one of the newer ones that we're going to look at. It is starring Haley Steinfeld and Douglas Booth, and it is quite similar to Zeffirelli's version. Fourth, we have Warm Bodies. This is kind of a different version. It's a 2013 paranormal romantic zombie comedy film, and it's inspired by Romeo and Juliet. And then finally, we have Romeo and Juliet, which is an animated film. It's quite funny. Does a really good job of portraying Romeo and Juliet so that children can understand it. So we'll also take a look at that as well. Here you can see Zeffirelli's version, Luhrmann's version, Carly's version. This is the Warm Bodies, and in the middle, Romeo and Juliet. All right, let's talk about Verona, Italy next. So Romeo and Juliet actually made Verona famous. It turned a lovely but unremarkable town in the shadow of Venice in northeast Italy into one of the world's most romantic destinations. And during the year 2015, I was actually lucky enough to visit, so we're going to also look at some pictures from my travels there. So why Verona? Many visitors wonder why Shakespeare chose this setting to lay the scene of his most popular play. The answer is really quite simple. He kept to the source material. So William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet is actually based on Italian writer Luigi da Porta's a recently rediscovered story of two noble lovers with their pitiful death occurred at the time of a bunch of Italian words to finish that sentence, but it's actually inspired, Romeo and Juliet is inspired by da Porta's text. So first we're going to talk about some physical locations in Verona, Italy. As you can see in the picture on the right, that is the balcony of Casa di Giulietta, or Juliet's house balcony. The site where Romeo is said to have declared his love to Juliet is just outside the city's main promenade. Although added to a suitably old house in 1936 and doubtfully the original, it draws romantics in droves and is the site for many a proposal and declaration of love. Juliet's balcony is one of the most popular sites to visit in Romeo and Juliet's Verona. Next we have Juliet's statue. Entered through an arched passageway set in Casa di Giulietta's main courtyard, the small statue of a girl is a favorite for visitors. Found just a few feet from the balcony in which she and Romeo first confessed their love, the statue of Juliet effectively humanizes the tragedy that we all know so well. It's just interesting to note that if you can kind of see here, the type of statue this is. It wears down when people touch it. And as you can see, Juliet's right breast is quite, the finish of the statue is quite worn down. And that is because tradition stands that if you touch the statue's right breast, that you will have good luck in love. Next, we have Juliet's tomb. In the story, Juliet dies in a 13th century Franciscan convent. While no name is mentioned, the site at Via del Ponterie was the only one outside the city walls at the time when the events took place, and literary fans, tourists, and locals alike come here to pay tribute to the tragic tale. Next, we have Piazza del Erbe. Fun fact, Madonna used to have an apartment up here. Romeo and Juliet may have never existed, but Italian poet Dante did write two feuding families. No doubt, the Montinici and Capoletta clans frequented the finest square in Verona. Ringed with cafes and shops, the piazza is also home to the Baroque Palazzo Maffier and the Francisco of Casa Mazzanti. I can't speak Italian, but a fun fact, I did eat at a restaurant over here. These are just some photos from my travels. So here you can see a street sign pointing towards Julieta y Romeo, which would have been pointing towards Juliet's house. This is also a photo from my travels. Verona has a big, beautiful Colosseum-like building where they would have had plays and such. And this would have had, actually, this outer wall you can see here would have gone all the way around, but it has since kind of crumbled to only this much left. But it is really quite beautiful. And they still have concerts there today. Over here you can see Posta di Giulietta. If anyone's ever watched the movie Letters to Juliet, it's pretty interesting to note that people write love letters and leave them in the bricks and in these post things. Then they write about their love life because they think Juliet can help them solve their love troubles. Here you can see the statue of Juliet, and up here would be my photo of Juliet's balcony. And that is all I've got for you today. Please have a wonderful day.